Do you like horror games? I mean, if you're here, you probably do. But some horror games spring from an unsettling genre created by H.P. Lovecraft and sprung the widely loved Lovecraftian horror game genre. Hi, I'm V, and today I'm going to be filling your curious minds with the top 5 Lovecraftian horror games you need to play with the lights on. Ready? Let's go. Number 5, The Terrible Old Man. This game is directly based on H.P. Lovecraft's story, The Terrible Old Man. The story surrounds a strange old man who lives alone in a small town. 3 outsiders decide to rob the old man as he seems frail and easy to steal from. But the next day, the 3 bodies of the thieves are found by the townspeople, leading the reader to theorize on what exactly the old man was capable of. How did he manage to independently defeat 3 young, skilled, and healthy people? This game is set in the fictional town of Kingsport, Massachusetts. Players assume the role of a stranger who arrives in Kingsport, drawn by the rumors of the terrible old man. This character, Captain Zadok Allen, is rumored to possess forbidden knowledge and engage in mysterious rituals. As the stranger, players are tasked with uncovering the secrets of the terrible old man. It's a point-and-click adventure game that emphasizes exploration, investigation, and puzzle solving. Players navigate the eerie and atmospheric environments of Kingsport, interact with its very peculiar inhabitants, and gather clues to unravel the weird mystery surrounding the terrible old man. The game's art style is a nod to Lovecraft's era, featuring hand-painted backgrounds and a vintage aesthetic that immerses players in the early 20th century setting. The dark, shadowy visuals are complemented by a haunting soundtrack that heightens the sense of dread and unease. Throughout the game, players will encounter characters and scenarios that display Lovecraft's distinctive brand of cosmic horror. The narrative takes a gradual descent into the thoughts of the unknown, introducing players to eldritch entities, forbidden tomes, and ancient rituals that defy humans' basic comprehension. What sets The Terrible Old Man apart is its emphasis on player choices and consequences. As players interact with the inhabitants of Kingsport and make decisions, they shape the outcome of the story. Choices have lasting effects that impact both the narrative progression and the ultimate fate of the protagonist. The game definitely managed to successfully capture the essence of Lovecraft's storytelling, emphasizing the insignificance of humanity in the face of incomprehensible cosmic forces. It explores themes of forbidden knowledge, madness, and the consequences of meddling with the unknown. While The Terrible Old Man game is relatively short, it offers a rich and atmospheric experience that completely immerses players in the eerie and unsettling world of H.P. Lovecraft. It's a great example of the lasting influence of Lovecraftian horror, and the ability that video games have to translate and expand upon the works of authors. This game is free to play, and it's a point-and-click experience. It is very short, as I said. The entire adaptation can be played through within 20 minutes. In this game, you're able to discover more about the short story, and you can step into the shoes of the townspeople, asking them questions about the dark and mysterious events of the plot. Number 4, Darkwood. Darkwood is a surreal, psychologically harrowing survival horror game that was developed by Acid Warrior Studio and released in 2017. The game has earned acclaim for its strange atmosphere, top-down perspective, and the overwhelming sense of dread it manages to instill in the players. The game is set in an eerie and foreboding forest in an unknown European location, where the protagonist, who is known simply as the Stranger, finds himself trapped. As the game unfolds, players quickly realize that the forest is anything but ordinary. It's a place where reality blurs and horrors beyond your imagination quietly lurk in the shadows. Darkwood combines survival, exploration, and psychological horror into one magnificent game. Players scavenge for resources during the day, fortifying their hideout to stand against the horrors that emerge from the darkness at night. The game's day-night cycle is a central mechanic, with daylight offering some respite from the horror, while the darkness brings forth otherworldly creatures and intense psychological torment. One of the game's standout features is its use of a top-down fixed camera perspective, which restricts the player's field of view and intensifies the sense of vulnerability. Navigating the forest is fraught with danger, as the Stranger encounters encounters grotesque, surreal, and indescribable creatures that consistently defy traditional horror conventions. The forest itself is a labyrinth nightmare, its layout changing in each playthrough, adding to the already significant sense of disorientation and dread. Darkwood's narrative is non-linear and fragmented, being conveyed through environmental storytelling, found notes, and unsettled encounters with other characters trapped within the forest. The story gradually unravels, revealing the stranger's dark past and the forces that bind him to the forest. The game explores isolation, existential dread, and the malleability of reality. As the stranger navigates through the horrors of the forest, players must make difficult moral choices that influence the story's overall progression and final outcome. These choices come with consequences, and players must grapple with the toll of their actions. Darkwood's minimal sound and audio design plays a huge role in immersing players in its world and story. The creepy soundscape, the odd ambient noises, and the haunting music create an atmosphere of constant tension. Darkwood is a game that diverts itself from traditional horror tropes and mainly relies on psychological horror elements to create a deeply unnerving experience. Its dark and twisted narrative, eerie visual style, and upsetting audio design come together to deliver a memorable and thrill-charged horror experience. Number 3, World of Horror. World of Horror is a game developed by Pantsaz and published by Eastbridge Games. It is a unique indie horror gem that pays homage to the works of acclaimed horror manga artist Junji Ito and, of course, to the well-loved Lovecraftian horror genre. The game was released for early access in 2020 as a thrilling fusion of cosmic dread, unsettling visuals, and roguelike gameplay that has garnered twisted praise for its ability to evoke fear and thrilling unease. The game is set in the small fictional Japanese coastal town of Shiokawa, and the game thrusts players into a world besieged with eldritch horror and spooky supernatural phenomena. The game's monochromatic, pixel art aesthetic immediately relates to Junji Ito's signature style, and the haunting hand-drawn imagery effectively enhances the gloomy atmosphere of dread and unease. One of World of Horror's defining features is its use of roguelike gameplay, meaning it's able to offer players a different experience with each individual playthrough. Players can select from a roster of characters, each who have their own specific strengths, weaknesses, and abilities. The player's objective is to solve a series of lurid mysteries and to confront otherworldly terrors that threaten to consume the desolate town. The mysteries in World of Horror are varied, and the game uses procedurally generated events and scenarios to ensure that no two playthroughs are the same. Players investigate clues, make choices, and engage in turn-based combat to advance through the plot of each mystery. The choices made can have consequences and lead to multiple possible outcomes and story branches, like a multiverse. The combat mechanics in the World of Horror is a mix of strategy and resource management. Players must supervise their characters' stamina and reason bars, which serve as health and sanity meters, respectively. As characters face nightmarish creatures, their sanity erodes, potentially leading to different afflictions and severe mental breakdowns. The game's unforgiving difficulty adds to the sense of dread, as players must carefully ration their resources and make tactical decisions to survive, like Cuphead, but easier still. The game's narrative is deeply influenced by Lovecraftian horror. It draws obvious inspiration from the works of H.P. Lovecraft and from cosmic horror themes. The old gods and cosmic entities that lurk beneath the surface of the horrors remain completely incomprehensible and unfathomable, further instilling a sense of existential dread within the world. World of Horror is also known for its use of eerie soundscapes and minimalistic sound design, which effectively enhance the atmosphere and deeply immerse players in the unsettling world. The absence of a traditional soundtrack allows for a more intense and chilling experience, where every creak, whisper, and slight rustle contributes to the tension. Although it is an indie title, World of Horror has garnered a loyal following and widespread praise for its ability to accurately capture the essence of both Junji's work and the well-known genre of Lovecraftian horror. World of Horror is a love letter to fans of cosmic horror, Junji Ito's artistry, and roguelike gameplay, which is my favorite kind of gameplay. Its thrilling visuals, procedurally generated mysteries, and chilling atmosphere create an experience that lingers long after the screen goes dark. For those seeking a unique and genuinely unsettling horror experience, World of Horrors offers a journey into a world where the line between reality and nightmare blurs. Number 2. Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem was developed by Silicon Knights and published by Nintendo. It's a captivating psychological horror action adventure game released for the Nintendo GameCube all the way back in 2002. It forged itself a clear name as a unique and innovative addition in the horror game genre, becoming known for its complex narrative structure, sanity mechanics, and thrillingly immersive storytelling. The game is set across different time periods and locations, managing to weave a tale that spans millennia and explores themes of cosmic horror, ancient evil, and of course, the fragility of human sanity. Players assume the character of Alexandra Roves, a woman who is investigating the mysterious killing of her grandfather, Edward Roves, in his Grand Rhode Island mansion. One of the game's amazing standout features is its sanity meter, a gameplay mechanic that directly impacts the player's experience. As Alexandra encounters supernatural horrors and eldritch abominations, her sanity meter depletes. As it decreases, the game begins to subject players to a variety of unsettling and disorienting effects, like hallucinations, distorted audios, faked error messages, and it even shows a simulated blue screen of death. These effects begin to blur the line between the player's in-game experience and the player's reality, creating an unnerving sense of unease and paranoia. The narrative of Eternal Darkness is intricate and non-linear, comprising several chapters set in different time periods and following various characters, further unnerving the players as they gradually piece together the complex, overarching plot of the story by collecting and reading the Tome of Eternal Darkness, a mystical book that chronicles the struggle against an ancient, malevolent entity. Throughout the game, players also encounter a series of playable characters, each with their own unique abilities and stories, adding even more depth and intrigue to the narrative. These characters are connected by their encounters with the malevolent entity across different historical periods, from ancient Rome all the way to World War I. Eternal Darkness has a wide variety of challenges for players in puzzle solving, combat, or exploration. The puzzles are, of course, often tied to the game's Lovecraftian lore, and they often require players to decipher runes, manipulate objects, or uncover hidden secrets. The game's combat mechanics are a mix of melee and ranged attacks, which allow players to gain a variety of weapons and spells to fend off the game's nightmarish creatures. The game's main antagonist is a cosmic entity that seeks to engulf the world in an eternal darkness and madness. The entity represents an existential threat that transcends time and space, and its presence looms throughout the game. The plot explores themes of forbidden knowledge, the consequences of meddling with the supernatural, and the horrors of facing the unknown. Eternal Darkness is widely regarded as a cult classic in the horror game genre. With its innovative use of the sanity mechanic, intricate storytelling, and Lovecraftian influences, it has left a prominent, long-lasting impact on the horror gaming community. While fans have long hoped for a sequel or successor, the original game remains a unique and chilling experience that continues to captivate players seeking a deep and psychologically unsettling adventure. Bloodborne is a game that was developed from software and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. It is an action-like role-playing game that was released in 2015, only playable on the PlayStation 4. It's often praised as one of the most challenging and immersive titles in the Soulsborne series, which is a genre created by the same developer. Bloodborne is well known and loved for its dark, atmospheric world, punishing, grueling difficulty, and its intricate, captivating storytelling. The game transports players into the city of Yharnam, which is a gothic, Victorian-inspired nightmare location, plagued by a mysterious and deadly illness known as the Beast Plague. Players take on the role of a hunter and are tasked with unraveling the city's dark secrets and surviving spine-chilling encounters with grotesque creatures, eldritch horrors, and nightmarish bosses. One of Bloodborne's defining features is its relentless and unforgiving gameplay. It's like Cuphead, but way scarier. The combat is extremely fast-paced, demanding accurate precision and skilled timing. Unlike games within the Souls series, Bloodborne's sparring mechanics encourage players to engage in aggressive play, even rewarding players for successfully landing attacks immediately after taking damage. This mechanic, known as regaining health, keeps players engaged and intensifies the game's tension. Bloodborne also features a very unique multiplayer component. Players can leave messages in the world to offer tips or mislead others, and they can also invade other players' games as adversaries or to cooperate to overcome challenges. This asynchronous multiplayer aspect adds a layer of unpredictability to the game, which really isn't done in a lot of games. So yeah, Bloodborne is a dark and enthralling masterpiece of Lovecraftian horror-based gaming. Its punishing difficulty, mesmerizing world, and intricate storytelling have earned it a dedicated fan base and critical acclaim. That brings us to the end of today's list. Have you played any of these games? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and of course, I hope you learned something. Keep it curious. Bye!